As I always say to my woke friends, we voted for the same person. You're just why she lost.
Bill Maher is at it again, this time blasting the woke left's prejudiced worldview. While Carolla underscored their obsession with expanding government to embrace all aspects of our lives.
Live in rent control, fine. Go get your own home and try to pull a permit. You'll start thinking more like me.
And today we are going through an eye-opening experience. So let's get right to it.
I've made the same point as much as I can, and boy, of all the third rails you can touch in America, this is the one right? that they just cannot accept. You cannot be honest about obesity. And it's like, first of all, I never do like the cheap jokes about it. And believe me, those jokes are submitted. I could. I'm just trying to state the facts and say it outright. And I remember, James Corden, you remember that when he went after me? It's so hard to not be on one of the extremes.
Yes. To
not have a team. I mean, it just really sucks, and especially in this town where everyone's on one team, and it's not. I mean, as I always say to my woke friends, we voted for the same person. You're just why she lost.
Right.
And they do not like that.
Right.
They are very exclusionary.
Yes.
They really just don't want to breathe the same air if you're not exactly with the groupthink.
That's the key concept here, groupthink. When someone deviates from the official account, they are perceived as having committed an unforgivable sin. We've seen this play out time and again, especially in Hollywood, where careers have been damaged just for voicing alternative ideas. Adam then presented a comparison that gets to the heart of the issue, one that many people appear to overlook in today's political climate.
It's counterintuitive to me because I always feel like you should be looking for things you agree on, not looking for things you disagree on. And it just makes life so much easier and so much better. And it's almost like saying, look, we'd like to go out to dinner. Let's not try to figure out what food you hate and I love. Let's try to figure out the food we both love, and let's go enjoy ourselves. And it's pretty easy to do because if you think about most people who you may disagree with, or maybe I disagree with, it's not 10 out of 10 things. We agree on 8 out of 10 things,
right.
And maybe we have a disagreement about 2 out of 10 things. People say to me all the time, oh, you're Republican and right-leaning. I go, listen, I don't own a gun. I'm not religious at all. How right can I be?
You've put your finger on the thing that makes me so incensed about the woke and the far left. And yet it's never enough for them.
Right.
It's never enough that we're just not willing to go along with your insanity. That doesn't make us conservatives.
A few decades ago, most people identified as Americans first. Sure, they disagreed on how to address the country's difficulties, but there was some agreement on the direction we wanted to go. Today, I feel that perspective has all but evaporated, so it's encouraging to hear Adam work to restore it. For those on the political extremes, agreement on 90% of issues is no longer sufficient. If you don't agree with them on every issue, they treat you as if you don't belong in the country. Adam then mentioned Hanoi Jane's antics on Bill's show, emphasizing California's growing government overreach.
When you had Jane Fonda on the show, and Jane Fonda came on your show, and you were talking to her about regulation and over-regulation and red tape, and she said to you, I don't think there's enough. And I was like, are you nuts? And I realized she didn't know what was going on. Then you talked about your garage door. But the point is you got turned a little bit with your solar shack. And I said it a million times. Live in rent control, fine. Go get your own home and try to pull a permit. You'll start thinking more like me. And you tried to get your solar shack permit, and that took 2 years.
2 years while I was yelling at them on the air. This is how arrogant the government is in California. This is how bad it is when one party controls any government of either party.
Right.
I was embarrassing them on the air for weeks, and still nothing happened.
Right.
Until the governor himself intervened and said, this is getting embarrassing.
Imagine the red tape you'd have to deal with if the governor himself had to pull strings just to get solar panel permits. And I'll tell you more about it after a little word from today's sponsor. Okay, this one is strategic. The modern military is only as strong as its supply chain, and Washington is actively working to address one of our most severe shortcomings. Almost every fighter aircraft, tank, missile, and contemporary weaponry system incorporates tungsten. Nonetheless, we haven't commercially mined the metal in almost a decade. That is why the White House is making large efforts to restore domestic supply. The Pentagon has already committed funds to restart U.S. tungsten production, and Trump has authorized Project Volt, which spends an extra $12 billion on critical minerals. Add another $30 billion pledged to improve American supply chains, and the route is clear. This is where Volt's strategic mining comes in, with Knox in Canada and CanXFF in the United States. Clears throat. The business is assembling what might be one of the most critical tungsten holdings in the country. Rather of seeking new resources, Volt concentrates on historic American mines, revitalizing well-known assets using modern research techniques. Its primary location in Nevada was under a defense minerals exploration contract during World War II, so this is more than simply a new discovery story. It is about resurrecting a resource that once powered America's defense industry. Timing is also essential. Tungsten prices are nearing all-time highs as governments look for a trustworthy supplier outside of China. Volt's headquarters are located in one of North America's most prolific historic tungsten belts, placing the company just where demand and policy are beginning to align. If you want to learn more about them, click the link provided in the description. Thank you to Volt Strategic Mining for making today's video possible. The difficulty with these tight authorization restrictions is that some degree of limitation has always existed. The problem is that years of green rules, along with the requirement to enforce 10 different standards on even the simplest project, have turned the entire process into a bureaucratic nightmare. Instead of making life easier, it produces further delays, higher prices, and never-ending annoyance for average people. Bill gave another example of how ridiculous things had become, this time with something as simple as replacing his garage doors.
The one that bothered me the most was my garage door. When I moved into this house, it had a 3 garage door. Okay, it doesn't fit 3 cars. I don't know what these cars are. It fits 3 motorcycles.
Right.
Okay, like I don't live in a mansion. I don't want to. I live alone. Okay, I've got a wonderful house. Happy to have it. No one would mistake it for lifestyles of the rich and famous. Okay, so I wanted to change my 3-car garage, wink wink, to what it should be, a 2-car garage. This took 3 inspections. Inspections?
Right.
I'm just changing my garage. Why do you have to be involved in my life when I'm changing my garage?
Because
if it falls down on my head, that's my fault for doing it with a bad contractor.
Right. And now you get to rebuilding the Palisades in Malibu.
Right.
And it's not happening because of...
This is the definition of insanity. It has been 18 months since the Palisades wildfires, and just 28 homes have been certified for occupancy. The numbers for the Malibu fires are considerably more concerning. 7 years later, it appears that fewer than 40% of the residences have been rebuilt. At some point, people must halt and wonder, what is going on? How did it take so long to recover? That is precisely the question Bill posed. And, so to be clear, this conversation occurred before to the Los Angeles mayoral primary.
It is amazing to me that Republicans can't do better in this state, because I certainly know, umpteen liberals, people who vote Democratic, who complain about these things, about the parent issue, about the permitting kind of issue, about the regulation issue, taxes, so many taxes, but my road still sucks.
Yeah.
It's but why does the state stay in this mono-party stasis?
I don't know what it is. I mean, I think there's an element of sort of fashion where we just go, oh, that's cool. There want to be a nail that a hammer's going to find.
You're
So they go,
so-
no, Gavin Newsom's great. No, Karen Bass is great.
Right.
No, put the mask on. No, get the jab. No, for sure. No, the border. No, race. No one's illegal. No one's. All people are legal. Everything is love. Science is science. So we're down with everything. Could you please leave me the alone so I could go home?
This might be one explanation. Another example is California's election system, which permits ballots to be tallied days after the election, with mail-in votes benefiting the candidate who requires them the most. Despite the fact that many individuals have moved away, Republicans have made consistent gains across the state. If Newsom and the rest of Democratic leadership continue to pursue the same goals, California might soon look more purple than blue. Please leave your thoughts on this issue in the comments box, and remember to like and subscribe. I truly thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.